Last month, the judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from Trump.
Well, there is more high drama in the village of Dalton tonight, where embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Political chaos has engulfed Tiffany Henyard, often referred to as the Super Mayor Henyard, who serves as both the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and the supervisor of Thornton Township, has been politically outmaneuvered in a stunning turn of events. She was denied a spot on the Democratic ballot for township supervisor, marking a significant defeat. This setback is compounded by mounting scandals and increasing public outrage, leaving Henyard on the brink of a political downfall. But this isn't just about a lost election, it's the unraveling of a politician who has long lived lavishly on taxpayer money, now watching her political empire crumble before her eyes. Could this be the beginning of the end for Tiffany Henyard? Let's dive deeper.
There are perception issues with it that are right to get attention. Will the court look at those perception issues? Probably not.
Picture this: a packed auditorium in Homewood, Illinois, buzzing with anticipation as the stakes reach their peak. It's the first Democratic caucus in Thornton Township in decades, organized by State Senator Napoleon Harris. As Harris entered the venue, his supporters filled the room, claiming their seats and setting the stage for a swift and decisive victory. Outside, Henyard's supporters, many reportedly brought using township resources, were left waiting in the cold. With the auditorium's capacity capped at 600, Henyard's team arrived late, as they often did, only to find the doors closing. What unfolded wasn't just a logistical failure, it was a full-blown political spectacle. Inside, Harris's camp celebrated their organizational prowess, while outside, frustration and chaos reigned. The night highlighted a stark contrast in strategy and execution, leaving little doubt about which side had the upper hand.
Drama tonight involving a controversial politician in the south suburbs. Tiffany Henyard was the only Thornton Township leader to show up for a schedule.
When the caucus began, it took just 7 minutes for Harris and his slate to secure the Democratic nomination for the April election. 7 minutes, that's all it took to crush Henyard's hopes of re-election as township supervisor. The room erupted in cheers as Harris's victory was announced, but Henyard's reaction was anything but celebratory. Visibly furious, she accused Harris of running an illegal meeting. "You didn't run any of this the right way," she shouted, her voice trembling with frustration. But beneath the anger, there was a clear note of desperation. Henyard knew this loss meant she had no place on the Democratic ticket, her only remaining option. Running as a write-in candidate, a strategy that many view as a long shot at best.
There is a new legal battle brewing in Dalton between the mayor and some village trustees.
As Regina Waldrop explains, it has a lot to do with 2 meetings held earlier.
Henyard's complaints about the caucus process carried little weight. Harris and his team had followed the rules, and despite Henyard's cries of foul play, the requirements were clear: candidates needed a full slate, including a certified assessor, a requirement Henyard's team failed to meet. Harris's attorney, Burton O'Dellon, addressed the matter bluntly. "This is the process that has been in place for decades. It's legal, it's democratic, and it was executed properly." Henyard's claims of voter suppression and unfair practices were met with widespread skepticism, especially given her own history of bending the rules to her advantage. But this controversy wasn't just about the caucus. For years, Henyard has been at the center of scandal, from allegations of lavish spending of taxpayer dollars to accusations of corruption and mismanagement. Her tenure has been anything but smooth, leaving residents of Thornton Township and Dalton frustrated and disillusioned. "She's done nothing but embarrass this community," one resident said, summing up the growing sentiment. "It's time for her to go. She might, but not without a fight." True to form, Henyard appears unwilling to bow out quietly, even as the tide of public opinion turns decisively against her.
"You're a clown. We will continue to speak out against wrongdoing. Why won't you step down?"
Henyard's response to her defeat was as dramatic as her tenure. Storming out of the auditorium with a handful of supporters, she was met with a crowd singing "N.I.A. Hey, kiss him goodbye." The irony was unmistakable. Henyard, often accused of shouting over others in meetings and silencing dissent, was now being drowned out by her own constituents. "Karma and justice in action," one observer quipped, and they weren't wrong. For years, Henyard ruled with an air of arrogance, using her dual roles as mayor and supervisor to consolidate power. But now, her reign appears to be over. The public's disdain for Henyard extends beyond her political antics. It's rooted in the tangible harm her leadership has inflicted on the community. Thornton Township is grappling with severe financial challenges, many of which trace back to her administration. Investigations into her spending have uncovered shocking details: tens of thousands of dollars spent on first-class flights, luxury hotels, fine dining, and even a $3,000 Amazon shopping spree in a single day. Understandably, residents are outraged, with many viewing her actions as a betrayal of public trust during a time when the township faces mounting challenges. Her fall from grace is a reflection of a community demanding accountability and change.
Home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now
Henyard's spending habits have drawn significant scrutiny, but her leadership style has been equally controversial. Critics describe her as combative and dismissive, frequently silencing dissenting voices during public meetings. One former official characterized her behavior as bullying, stating, "It's like she sees anyone who disagrees with her as an enemy." This abrasive approach has alienated not only her colleagues but also a significant portion of the community. Many residents now feel disillusioned and disconnected from their local government, fostering a growing sense of frustration and a demand for change.
Till 2025, yet Tiffany Henyard has officially decided she wants to stay as mayor despite the cloud of controversy.
Adding insult to injury, Henyard's legal troubles have cast a dark shadow over her administration. The FBI's investigation into her financial dealings has reportedly expanded to include close allies, some of whom are accused of engaging in fraudulent activities on her behalf. One particularly damning case involved a top police officer and Henyard ally recently indicted for bankruptcy fraud, further fueling public demands for accountability. This isn't just about bad leadership anymore, it's about systemic corruption, one critic noted. The people of Thornton Township appear to have had enough. The scandals don't end there. Henyard's cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation, has come under fire for failing to disclose how it spends its funds. The Illinois Attorney General's office has even ordered the charity to cease soliciting donations until it complies with state regulations. Meanwhile, Henyard's use of township buses to transport supporters to the caucus has sparked additional outrage, with critics calling it another example of her misusing public resources for personal gain. Just because she's out doesn't mean Tiffany and her cronies shouldn't be indicted and prosecuted for government corruption, one commenter wrote, echoing the growing sentiment among residents. The calls for justice are growing louder, and many believe it's time for Thornton Township to confront the full scope of the damage left in Henyard's wake.
But you don't even have a sense to even look in our face, but you rather just steal our money and do what you want to do.
As the walls close in, Henyard's future looks increasingly grim. Reports suggest the FBI is investigating her administration, and legal experts warn she could face serious consequences if found guilty of any wrongdoing. This is about more than just politics, one analyst noted. This is about accountability. If she's broken the law, she needs to face the consequences. Those consequences could be severe, with multiple investigations underway and a growing list of lawsuits against her. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard remains defiant. In a fiery press conference following the caucus, she vowed to keep fighting, declaring, "The show will go on," but her words rang hollow to many, and the consensus is that her days in office are numbered. The likelihood of her winning as a write-in candidate seems slim, and even her staunchest supporters are beginning to waver. Keith Price, a longtime ally, optimistically suggested that Henyard's name recognition might help her secure enough write-in votes. But even he sounded uncertain, a sentiment increasingly shared among her dwindling base of supporters.
6, embattled Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is mounting a re-election bid. Henyard made the announcement in a post on her Facebook.
Meanwhile, Harris and his team are pressing ahead, preparing for the April election and focusing on the issues that matter most to the community. Harris, a former NFL player and successful businessman, has pledged to bring transparency and accountability to Thornton Township. His caucus victory sent a strong message: residents are ready for change. As for Henyard, her next move remains uncertain. Will she double down on legal battles, pouring time and money into lawsuits that may never come to fruition? Or will she finally step aside, allowing the community to move forward and heal? One thing is undeniable: Tiffany Henyard's political career is in freefall, and recovery seems unlikely. The public's reaction to her downfall has been overwhelmingly negative. Social media has been inundated with comments from residents and political observers, many of whom view her defeat as a long overdue reckoning. Tiffany often just shouts over others in meetings, now she's the one getting shouted down. karma and justice in action, one commenter wrote.
Point the finger to Tiffany or allow me. I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
Amid the celebration, there's also a lingering sense of frustration among many residents. They believe Henyard has inflicted lasting damage on Thornton Township, and it may take years to undo the harm she's caused. We're going to be cleaning up her mess for a long time, one taxpayer said. Still, there's hope a chance to move forward. So what's next for Thornton Township? Will Harris deliver on his promises and restore faith in local government? And what about Henyard? Will she face legal consequences for her actions, or will she manage to make a comeback? The answers remain uncertain, but one thing is clear: this story is far from over. What do you think? Will Harris be the leader Thornton Township needs, or is this just another chapter in its political saga? And for Henyard, does she deserve a second chance, or is it time for her to step aside for good? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.